Microsoft layoffs effectively kill HoloLens and mixed reality projects. Kill HoloLens? They're done with it?
At least a lot of really important people that work on HoloLens is out.
I keep seeing on Twitter, I don't know, maybe it's my feed in particular, but I keep seeing on my Twitter all types of people looking for work. I just got laid off, or my friend just got laid off. They're really skilled, and then it's like their resume of what they've done. Like, it's a lot of layoffs in a very particular segment of types of expertise. Like Microsoft, how many people did Microsoft lay off? 10,000. I thought I was going to say 12,000. I don't know who was
12,000. Yeah, that sounded familiar. Was it Google?
Google might have been 12,000. These numbers are just staggering, right? But they're huge. They're enormous companies. And I know people were mad at the way it happened, that people were saying, well, your key card just don't work anymore, right? You can't get in.
Yeah.
In some cases.
Very abrupt.
And in other cases, this is the really interesting one. When your company tells you, find something useful to do in this company, you have a month.
Or else, yeah. What was that, Meta?
It's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know which one I would prefer. I don't know if I would prefer to just be fired and move on, or if I would prefer to be told. I guess I would prefer the chance. If I like the company that I'm working for, I like the people I'm working with, I presume I would prefer that. But it is an odd dilemma to find yourself where it must just be a ton of unproductive people. Like, and I'm not saying all 10,000 that are fired, but I mean internally in these companies, or maybe not. Maybe you have situations where management actually doesn't know who's productive and not. Yeah. And maybe it's a hard thing to track or quantify.
And maybe what ends up happening are like projects being scrapped. And these projects have but those 100 workers.
But what's interesting is that those projects are connected to productivity. In other words, if you're working on some outlandish project that, moonshot type project, then you kind of also assume that it is the type of thing that could be axed easily. It's like the corporate equivalent of the vacation home. It's like, they could chop this thing off. Like this is not super imperative to the business, as opposed
the bottom line, I guess, right?
So if the company says find a useful spot for yourself, I don't think they're necessarily saying the work you did is bad. I think they might be saying like those types of projects we're scaling back because we can't take those risks anymore. But then it's all messed up because they have the shareholders who are putting pressure on them to keep having certain numbers. And this is also a quick way for them to just lop off a bunch of their operating budget. Just boom, 10,000 people. Who can we do? How about them? Yep, later. It's a super complicated thing. And you really wish there was like a better way of dealing with it. Like 10,000 people. Did you overhire 10,000 people? Could you not project that? Because obviously it's not fun or healthy to get kicked out either. So, but I gotta believe that there is some kind of issue where when you get to a certain scale, it becomes really hard to connect all the necessary pieces that need to be connected. And you have these like outlying and all the conversations that need to be had. And there's just like budgets and spending and corporate this and that. And it's much like when we see those videos on TikTok, and those start to pop up for me again on Twitter, day in the life, Meta product manager or whatever. And you're just like, did these companies start watching these videos? Because they're just like, oh, add that person to the list.
Yeah. Like the username's right there.
Just add that person to the list.
Well,
like the last 24 hours, that person just went to the gym, watched
some cookies,
watched a movie, had breakfast, snack, went dancing on the beach, like, I don't know, had a picnic. I don't know, man.
Work for like 30 minutes of the day.
I don't know. When it's always different when you have extreme optimism and you have things are going well. Lots of revenue. And it's just like, hire them up. Let's hire them all. And also, it becomes about lifestyle. We want our people to be happy and peaceful and take all the time off you want. And you got your own personal chef and whatever else. But there's no free lunch over here. That comes at the cost. And you know what the cost of that is? Is it can all be taken away immediately when things go the other way. Because it's easy to take it away.
Yeah.
And so expectations and reality, that gap, I think people need to just be aware. Those vacation homes are easy to sell, is what I'm trying to tell you, Will.
I hear you, yeah.
You sell those before you sell your actual home. You know what your actual home is? Your actual home is the bottom line.
Yeah, yeah. This story was, when you talked about it, it wasn't my intention to talk about like the layoffs and stuff.
Well, it is, though.
It was just more about like HoloLens. Like that's Microsoft's kind of future vision.
And because I read the headline and I don't necessarily believe it. Maybe HoloLens as we see it today.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those situations where, yeah, maybe it's a refocus. Like how many times does Apple pick up the Apple car and then put it down and fire everybody who was working on it? And then, okay, the timing wasn't right. And maybe we'll pick it up again, or maybe maybe they want to put a new team on it anyway. On something that's not called HoloLens, but is, get some other group that's cheaper, motivated. But you never know what their motives are.
Yeah.
So that's why I went big picture with it. But also just because this stuff is bombarding you right now, And honestly, I do feel, and I know there's talented people in that group. I know it for a fact. There's people that probably should have been held on to. But when you're trying to fire 10,000 people at once, you're going to make some mistakes. Absolutely. Collateral damage.
Yeah.